When you picture a traditional Irish food, seaweed might not come to mind. But apparently the Irish valued seaweed as a health food for many years, as it grew abundantly on the coastline. It was often used to treat ailments of the stomach and lungs, and it was very helpful during the Irish potato famine during the 1800s, and it helped people to get a little more nutrition when they were lacking. It was used in soups, baking, even beer, and also to make a pudding that we're going to make today by warming it with milk and spices. First, you're going to soak your seaweed if it's dried. Make sure to soak it for about 15 minutes, and then you're going to clean it very thoroughly. It's going to be covered with a lot of salt and ocean flavors that you don't exactly want in your pudding. It's also very important to buy a high-quality seaweed. Make sure it's organic. An organic certification will help to ensure that your seaweed didn't come from somewhere with a lot of pollutants, microplastics, and forever chemicals like PFAs. Even with that being said, I would limit the amount of seaweed you consume because I'm just not sure how much of these contaminants can be in the seaweed even with an organic certification. Once your seaweed is thoroughly washed and rinsed with filtered water, place it in a pot with some milk. I will post a link with the exact quantities down in the description box below. Add some vanilla, cinnamon sticks, and bring that pot to a simmer for about 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, the seaweed will pretty much be fully dissolved, but go ahead and strain through a sieve to get out any seaweed chunks. It will be very thick, so you can use a spoon to kind of stir around and get that thick mixture through the sieve. Now you will have a thick pudding-like mixture, and I'm going to add a couple of egg yolks. This is going to add a richness, a more delicious flavor, and also some more nutrients and protein. Whenever you're adding egg yolks to anything warm, you want to only put a little bit at a time and keep whisking the eggs so they don't get clumpy. Then once you've added about half, you can add it to the entire dish. This was some of the mixture that fell on the table, and as you can see, it becomes very gelatinous. This seaweed is also called carrageen seaweed, but it's different from carrageenan, which is a processed version, which is bad for your gut. Seaweed, on the other hand, can be good for your gut. But again, I wouldn't have it very often. It does have a lot of iodine, which too much can also be harmful, just like too little can be harmful. Now this is once the pudding has cooled. It's very thick. This recipe is basically a blancmange, which is a traditional Irish pudding that was used for different ailments when people were sick. To me, when it's warm, it basically tastes just like cream of wheat. You can also use this mixture to make a Jamaican Irish moss drink by adding it to a blender with as much milk as you like. You can also add a little maple syrup for sweetness. And I'm going to top mine with nutmeg, just like eggnog. To me, it tastes a lot like eggnog with a little bit different of a consistency. This was a very refreshing and filling drink. It is a popular Jamaican drink that's often marketed as an aphrodisiac for men. This is what it looks like when the blancmange has fully cooled. It's very thick, and I'm going to store it in the freezer for next time I want to make another seaweed drink. If you're going to eat the blancmange, I do think that it would be better to enjoy warm. Again, it tastes like cream of wheat to me, which is like a warm porridge for breakfast. It makes sense to me that they would give it to someone who had a stomach ache. To store it in the freezer, you can just put it in a glass container and put it in the freezer until next time you want to use it. Thanks for watching. For more details, check the link in the description box below for the blog post.